The rivalry that refused to die. 36 years ago, two men reshaped action cinema. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Belgian karate prodigy turned Hollywood underdog, and Steven Seagal, the ponytailed aikidō instructor whose stone-cold stare promised instant regret for any bad guy dumb enough to blink. Each became a VHS demigod, one with gravity-defying helicopter kicks, the other with wrist snaps so casual they looked like yawns. For a brief, glorious window in the early 90s, they ruled every video store end cap on the planet. But behind those glossy cover sleeves lived a feud so combustible that producers scheduled press junkets on separate continents just to keep paparazzi from catching real-life fists. For decades, fans whispered about insult-laden interviews, a surreal party at Sylvester Stallone's Miami mansion, and a $20 million Las Vegas cage match that almost, but never quite, happened. Then, in late 2023, Van Damme quietly called Seagal a fraud, detonating 30 years of rumor in 3 words. 14 months later, he posted a smiling dinner selfie with the very man he'd spent his career avoiding, a single frame that launched 10 million conspiracy threats. So buckle up. This is the full, unfiltered story of the bloodless war that defined a generation of action junkies, the secret offers, the near fights, the Instagram illusion, and the question that will haunt every dojo forever. Did Steven Seagal dodge humiliation? Or did Jean-Claude Van Damme miss the only fight that could have proved him unstoppable? Each chapter reveals a new twist. And just when you think the tale is over, another revelation hits like a kick you never saw coming. 2 kings, 1 video store. Picture a Friday night in 1992. Fluorescent lights buzz. A teenager wanders the aisles of Blockbuster clutching a tub of microwave popcorn. On one shelf, Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Time Cop, their covers splashed with Van Damme's sweat-glistening six-pack. On the other, Above the Law, Hard to Kill, Under Siege, each poster boasting Seagal's indifferent glare, a pistol, and the quiet promise that someone's arm will end up bending backward. Together, the two men owned nearly 60% of the martial arts rental market that year, a dominance so total critics coined the term the Double Dragon era. But stylistically, they couldn't have been farther apart. Van Damme was aerial violence, spinning heel kicks, airborne roundhouses, cinematic splits that doubled as charisma flexes. His secret weapon? Ballet. He spent his teens at the École de Danse de Bruxelles, perfecting balance and explosive extension. When Bloodsport premiered in 1988, audiences saw not mere punches but choreography that felt like a cross between Bruce Lee and Baryshnikov. By 1994's Time Cop, he was pulling in $100 million worldwide, proving elegance could sell as many tickets as pure brutality. Seagal's rise came from the opposite direction. While Van Damme was grinding on low-budget Canon film sets, Seagal was teaching Aikido to Beverly Hills elite, including agent Michael Ovitz, who soon muscled him into a starring debut. Above the Law introduced cinema to a fighter who barely lifted his feet yet toppled men twice his size with effortless joint locks. The minimalism felt dangerous, almost mystical. By 1992, Under Siege turned mainstream, grossing $156 million globally and making him, for a brief second, the highest-paid martial arts actor alive. Fans naturally fantasized about a crossover, but the studio calculus was cruelly simple. 2 alpha egos, 1 spotlight. Insurance premiums whispered, "Don't you dare." Press junkets kept them apart. Stunt coordinators swapped gossip. And somewhere along the line, admiration curdled into quiet contempt. Whenever journalists asked either man about the other, they offered diplomatic shrugs, but backstage, everyone sensed a storm front rolling in. Why? Partly insecurity. Van Damme's ballet background made him an easy target for snickering purists who considered pirouettes unmanly. Seagal, meanwhile, bristled at comparisons to a fighter who threw kicks higher than Seagal's preferred standing heart rate. Throw in inflated salaries, overlapping fan bases, and producers who loved stoking rivalry for free marketing, and you had Tinder just waiting for a spark. And that spark arrived courtesy of late-night television. Transition Whisper Wars. The world's loudest feud began as the quietest insult. 2 sentences on the Arsenio Hall show that hit like gossip napalm. Whisper Wars. March 1991. Arsenio is the hottest couch in America. Steven Seagal leans back, black suit. Buddha Beads tapping the mic. Hall asks what he thinks of that new guy who kicks real high. Seagal's grin flashes half a second, just enough to load the chamber. Frankly, he says, I'm not convinced ballet makes you a fighter. The audience laughs, assuming a harmless joke. But inside Hollywood dojos, jaws drop. Everyone knows Van Damme credits ballet for his flexibility. The insult is surgical, no name, all venom. It isn't a one-off. Over the next 3 years, Seagal sprinkles interviews with similar shade, each time tweaking the angle. Some actors are gymnasts, real fights aren't choreographed. Joint locks don't need wires. He never speaks Van Damme's name, but the target is obvious, and rumor mills grind overtime. Publicists try to spin it as playful rivalry. Insiders compare it to a Cold War arms race, smiles on camera, missile silos underground. Van Damme's response? Silence. The muscles from Brussels refuses bait. Friends say he channels irritation into extra hours on the heavy bag. Cynics whisper he's protecting his box office brand. Either way, tabloids sigh, no headline here. But for stunt coordinators juggling both stars' schedules, the tension is tangible. One veteran later admitted he added, no JCVD/Seagal overlap, lines to call sheets the way writers specify Evian or MNMS. Meanwhile, Seagal's off-screen mythology grows wild. He claims CIA freelancing, rescue missions in Laos, bar fights that end faster than they start. Some fans lap it up, others raise skeptical eyebrows. Wikipedia would later label his resume unsubstantiated. In dojos where lineage matters, whispers of exaggeration feel like sacrilege. By 1994, cracks appear. Van Damme scores Time Cop, his biggest commercial hit yet. Seagal counters with On Deadly Ground, directing himself but drawing Razzie nominations straight across the board. Still, neither man blinks publicly. The Cold War freezes until one balmy Miami night melts everything. Transition Miami meltdown. Sometimes destiny needs a host, and in this case, the host was a man named Stallone. Miami meltdown, the Stallone party. August 1997. Sylvester Stallone's waterfront mansion stands lit like a cruise ship. He's throwing a post-shoot wrap party, a who's who of action royalty, Arnold Schwarzenegger swapping cigar tips with Bruce Willis, Michael Rooker telling cliffhanger anecdotes, Cindy Crawford chatting with Dolph Lundgren about the comparative burn rates of flamethrowers. Security is tight, caterers quieter than tuxedos, and the Miami heat feels imported straight from a sauna. Late evening, Van Damme arrives in a linen suit, fresh off reshoots for Double Team. An hour later, Seagal steps through the same entrance, black silk, silver BLO tie. Observers say the temperature dropped 10 degrees. Conversation pockets hush. Some guests check wristwatches, calculating the fastest exit route. The first provocation is minor, a half-heard remark about dancers. Van Damme catches it. He walks over, face calm, and invites Seagal outside to stretch those legs. According to multiple sources, and later Stallone himself, Seagal smirks, waves him off, calls the notion beneath him. Tension buzzes like live wiring through crystal chandeliers. Muscles tighten. Stallone, sensing disaster, suggests another round of champagne. Crisis averted for 15 minutes. Around midnight, the party migrates to South Beach's club level. Neon lasers slice fog. This time, there's no mansion diplomacy. Van Damme approaches Seagal near the VIP bar and repeats the offer. Same words, same calm tone. Witnesses swear you could hear glass sweat. Again, Seagal declines, this time laughing louder, as though the very question is a joke only he gets. The refusals echo across tabloids by sunrise. Entertainment Tonight runs a teaser, Karate versus Aikido, why Hollywood's toughest men won't touch gloves. Stallone finally confirms the standoff years later, admitting Jean-Claude was too strong. Steven knew it. Fans split into camps. One applauds Van Damme for restraint. The other calls Seagal's brush-off proof of superior zen. Either way, the feud is no longer whispered. Insiders note the fallout. Producers blacklist joint appearances. award shows seat them on opposite wings, and an unspoken Hollywood commandment is born. Never place Seagal and Van Damme under the same roof without 40 feet of carpet in between. But what no one expects is that the Miami standoff is merely Act 1. Act 2 involves the richest fight offer ever proposed to two movie stars and the loudest silence ever recorded. Transition Mirage offer. When $40 million sits on a table, someone usually reaches for it. This time, only one hand moved. The $20 million Mirage. Early 2000. Hollywood is pivoting to wire fu, the Matrix rewired action choreography, threatening the old guard's hold on teenage wallets. In this climate, veteran producer Peter Guber floats a bold lifeline. A real, sanctioned fight, Jean-Claude Van Damme versus Steven Seagal, 5 3-minute rounds, hybrid rules vetted by both camps, live from the Mirage, Las Vegas. Purse, $20 million apiece. The proposal isn't a gimmick. Pay-per-view boxing numbers are soaring. The newly formed Zuffa has just bought UFC. Combining celebrity allure with genuine combat could break revenue records. Guber approaches both teams simultaneously, NDA in place, venue tentatively booked for spring 2001. Van Damme says yes within 48 hours. No haggling, no special clauses, just a request for wacko-style gloves instead of MMA open fingers. His manager calls it the easiest negotiation of my career. Seagal's camp? Crickets. Days pass. Then weeks. Guber's assistant faxes contract revisions, no reply. Finally, a polite, "not at this time," arrives and signed through a junior lawyer. Industry chatter goes thermonuclear. Some claim Seagal feared the smaller gloves, others that he demanded an aikidō-friendly rule set impossible to sanction. His publicist later hints scheduling conflicts. Critics call it brand protection. Lose on national television and the aikidō mystique collapses overnight. The deal collapses. Guber moves on. The Mirage refunds reserve dates. Van Damme remains publicly silent but privately livid. Friends say he framed the unsigned contract and hung it in his LA gym as motivation. The what-if fight becomes legend, joining Tyson Holyfield III and Pacquiao Mayweather in the pantheon of super fights that died in committee. Yet careers soldier on, albeit diverging. Van Damme embraces self-parody in 2008's viral JCVD meta-movie, earning him praise for unexpected vulnerability. Seagal pivots to straight-to-DVD thrillers, then to politics, accepting Russian citizenship in 2016, later appearing at pro-Kremlin galas. Still, the rivalry never fully fades. Fans keep flame wars alive on forums, each side wielding cherry-picked anecdotes like nunchucks. And the longer the fight stays fantasy, the bigger the legend grows. Transition fraud bombshell. Legends, however, crumble when one side finally names names. 2023, he is a fraud. September 2023. Budo Spirit, a niche European martial arts magazine, scores a quiet sit-down with Van Damme at a Brussels coffee house. No entourage, no PR filter. Mid-interview, the journalist asks, if you could erase one rumor about yourself, what would it be? Van Damme chuckles, sips espresso, then pivots. Erase about me? No. But there's one about him. He is a fraud. The words land like a spinning back kick to collective memory. Van Damme details Seagal's discarded Mirage offer, the unverified CIA brags, the Miami refusals, each presented with calm precision. He dismisses Seagal's tournament record as non-existent, contrasting it with his own full contact bouts in Europe. He stops short of profanity but calls the myth-making disrespectful to real fighters. Budo Spirit uploads the interview PDF. Within hours, Reddit's r/martial arts floods with hot takes. Twitter's trending tab lights up. YouTube pundits rush emergency live streams analyzing every syllable. For the first time, Van Damme isn't dodging questions, he's throwing combinations. Mainstream outlets pick it up. Variety runs Jean-Claude breaks silence. Sports talk shows debate whether a 63-year-old Van Damme could still starch a 71-year-old Seagal. Late-night hosts dust off aikidō jokes. Seagal's team declines comment. Silence, once strategic, now sounds suspiciously like retreat. But the twist nobody anticipates lands 5 months later, with one grainy phone pic and a caption built for maximum whiplash. Transition Instagram illusion. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. This one launched 1,000,000. The Instagram illusion. April 10th, 2025. Jean-Claude Van Damme's verified Instagram posts a dimly lit restaurant selfie. Two aging titans sit inches apart, Van Damme half smiling, Seagal wearing his trademark stoic Buddha face. Caption: Thank you Steven and family for the fantastic dinner. Big announcement coming soon. 14 words strong enough to crash servers. Within an hour, hashtag JCVDX Seagal trends worldwide. Entertainment site screen feud over. MMA blogs predict an exhibition bout. Conspiracy theorists zoom in on every reflection. Are contracts on the table? Is that a fight promoter behind them? Fans hunt location clues. Is it Moscow, Los Angeles, Dubai? The exposed brick matches all three. Noticeable details feed doubt. No handshake. No teeth in Seagal's smile. The crop hides body language. Only shoulders and faces visible. Lighting flatters no one. Odd for two men whose vanity once fueled gym legends. Skeptics cry PR stunt. Optimists ready credit cards for pay-per-view. Days turn to weeks, announcement absent. Van Damme shares training clips but no context. Seagal uploads a video teaching sword forms to Siberian cadets, ignoring questions. Blogs speculate split marketing. Tease first, reveal during Cannes. Others cite legal hang-ups. Seagal's civil suit over a failed crypto security startup drags in Florida courts. Maybe insurers balk at 70-year-old niece. Then Variety leaks rumor of a working title project. Katana, billed as a geriatric buddy revenge epic, eyeing a 2026 release. Studio sources claim script rewrites hinge on Seagal's availability. Van Damme's camp stays mum. Seagal's agent calls the report premature. Fans fracture again. One side insists Katana equals closure, a silver screen duel ending decades of teasing. The other warns it's vaporware, like Seagal's promised third album. Meanwhile, action film nostalgia skyrockets. Amazon lists used VHS tapes for triple last month's price. Yet beneath the noise, deeper questions linger. Why would Van Damme dine with a man he just labeled fake? Can two alpha egos share top billing without one throat chop? And if the dinner wasn't reconciliation, what was it? Answers require rewinding into near-forgotten corridors of both careers, places where lawsuits, geopolitics, and aging bodies crash into the unforgiving math of relevance. Transition rumors and shadows, because sometimes the biggest obstacle to a duel isn't fear, it's paperwork in 3 different languages. Rumors, lawsuits, and Russian shadows. While click chasers dissect the dinner photo, Seagal wages quiet battles on multiple fronts. In October 2024, he testifies via video in a Florida civil action, accused of duping investors with a national security-grade crypto wallet that never ships. Plaintiffs cite his claim of secret military clearance. Defense labels it marketing puffery. The case stalls, but courtroom transcripts leak, revealing Seagal invoked Fifth Amendment rights 47 times. Simultaneously, his Kremlin ties deepen. February 2023 saw President Putin award him the Order of Friendship for promoting international cultural cooperation. Western press calls it propaganda. Ukrainian activists petition festivals to ban films featuring him. Brands drop endorsement talks. In Hollywood, insurance underwriters flinch. A film co-starring Seagal may face boycotts in half the global streaming market. Van Damme faces his own ticking clock, ligament wear, spinal stenosis, doctors gently pushing retirement. In interviews, he speaks of a final opus where every villain I ever fought returns. The working title? What's My Name? Stallone cameo, Lundgren confirmed, Tong rumored. But financing stalls, millennial execs want younger demographics. Enter Katana. The pitch claims to fuse Van Damme's meta swagger with Seagal's stoic assassin persona. Plot leaks describe ex-spies hunting a Yakuza warlord across neon Tokyo. Each man demands equal screen time. Producers plan dueling training montages, kicks versus aikidō, past meets present. Amazon Prime reportedly circles distribution. banking on nostalgia and built-in controversy. Yet every contract draft hits the same wall: the ancestry of bad blood. Van Damme signs conditional LOI. Seagal must apologize publicly for ballet dancer insults. Seagal refuses, suggesting a joint press event celebrating mutual respect. Lawyers ping-pong semantics. Months slip by. Meanwhile, tabloids push another narrative: an exhibition fight under karate combat rules, 3 2-minute rounds, modern health protocols. Sources within the league confirm exploratory talks, but only Van Damme's repentant Zoom calls. Seagal's camp issues no comment. Familiar pattern, same unanswered invitation. By spring 2025, the atmosphere resembles 1997 all over again: glamour on the surface, knives and whispers. Each man wants legacy secure, wallet padded, pride intact. But variables multiply: exchange rate fluctuations, streaming residual models, lawsuits, geopolitics, orthopedic surgeons. Through it all, the fanbase stays ravenous. Subreddits track flight paths, TikTok sleuths analyze posture, YouTube commentators post sparring fantasies with clickbait headers like "Seagal done ducking?" Algorithm loves drama. None of it delivers catharsis. Truth or myth? And so, when legend feels heavier than truth, only one option remains: ask the man who started talking first. Van Damme's final verdict. Late June 2025, Van Damme sits for a French podcast recorded in a minimalist Paris loft. 2 hours in, host poses the $1 million encore. After the dinner, do you still think he is a fraud? Van Damme exhales, gaze drifting to skyline. His answer is slow, almost weary. "I hoped he would prove me wrong," he says. Dinner was an observation. I saw the same stories, the same ego. No evolution. A true martial artist grows humble with age. I saw posture, not growth. Listeners freeze. The feud loop resets. Yet Van Damme softens next sentence: "But forgiveness exists. If he wants truth, I'm here." Asked if Katana lives, he shrugs, contracts not signed. Asked about a fight, he deadpants: "Doctors say my hips won't allow 5 rounds, but one honest handshake can be heavier than any punch." Social media atomizes the quote. Headlines misinterpret nuance. Van Damme calls off fight. Van Damme demands apology. Van Damme retires. The noise drowns actual audio where he praises Seagal's early films, credits him for bringing Aikido to mainstream, and admits jealousy once lit my fire. Seagal? No response. His last Instagram before the podcast shows him splitting bamboo in Vladivostok snow. Caption: discipline. Comments section turns battlefield. Moderators disable replies. Industry insiders quietly concede Katana is dead. Insurance costs, risk optics, and elder knees killed it more than ego. Investors redirect funds to a Smoking Aces reboot. Van Damme lines up a cameo in a European heist comedy. Seagal signs on to narrate a documentary about Siberian tigers. And maybe that's fine. Maybe the fight never happening keeps it legendary. Boxing historian Burt Randall notes, Ollie Tyson fantasy attracts clicks decades later. Reality would have picked a winner and half the mystique. The untouchable outcome invites eternal debate, which sells retrospectives, 4K remasters, and limited edition Funko Pops. Still, one last chapter waits, a reflection on why a feud without punches thrown out lasted most that end in blood. The fight that survived by never happening. Rivalry fuels stories because it mirrors every human contradiction: admiration and envy, bravado and fear, ambition and insecurity. Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal became avatars of that tension, mirror images of success who loathed each other's reflection. One soared through the air, the other barely lifted his feet. One sought truth inside a real ring, the other insisted legend happens just fine on camera. Along the way, they traded not fists but narrative power. Van Damme's silence in the 90s preserved box office mystique. Seagal's snide jab stroked a fanbase that wanted its hero unchallenged. The near brawl at Stallone's mansion gave gossip pages ammo for years. The insane Mirage contract became modern folklore. And every time one man offered combat, the other offered quiet, feeding algorithms a fresh cycle of speculation. By the 2020s, both men discovered a different arena: social media. One interview, one photo, one coy caption triggered more global engagement than Hard to Kill's entire opening week marketing. In the attention economy, ambiguity is currency, and their unresolved beef prints money. Will they ever touch gloves? Probably not. Age dulls cartilage faster than pride. Even if they agreed tomorrow, medical commissions would flinch, insurers hike premiums, and pay-per-view buyers might recoil at the sight of septuagenarian bruises. Yet the allure persists because the ending never arrived. The rivalry stays Schrodinger's fight, both victory and defeat sealed in a box fans refuse to open. And maybe that's the real lesson. Legends aren't always built on decisive blows. Sometimes they're forged in the negative space, the punch that hovers but never lands. Because what imaginations conjure in the void is often bigger than what reality can deliver. So the next time you rewatch Bloodsport or queue up Under Siege, remember, every shout, every kick, every joint snap echoes a backstage saga richer and stranger than any script. Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal turned nonviolence into the longest-running fight story in Hollywood, proving once again that in showbiz, the greatest action happens when the cameras aren't even rolling. And that, dear viewer, is the truth they never wanted you to know, because it's far more profitable to keep you guessing.